it has not been going good for MCU as of late. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 were really good. People enjoyed them. People watched movies, they liked them. I mean, not every movie was well loved and all of this, but it led up to something that people really enjoyed, and they watched it. They had a good time. They were good with that. Understand me? People enjoyed that. Now we've just come through Phase 4, which was, by now anybody should know, it's probably just best to call it Phase 4. It was terrible. Only Spider-Man No Way Home was good, and let's be honest, that was mostly Sony. Practically everything else within it was just terrible. It fell short. It didn't make any kind of sense. And I mean, they tried to do things that didn't work. They tried this whole slapstick humor into everything that was just garbage. It did not work at all. It really didn't. And now with Phase 5, we've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania literally flop at the box office. People are just not caring anymore. Nobody's into it. Nobody's paying it. Nobody businesses when it comes to that. People have realized that you're just producing garbage and they don't want to be a part of it. So you're getting that. Now, MCU only has a few projects this year that I'm aware of. Most of the others, they have some stuff on Disney Plus. So when it comes to movies, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came out. Like I said, that's a flop. And the next one up for it will be Guardians of the Galaxy before we get the Marvels, which pretty much looks like it's already dead at the box office. But with Guardians of the Galaxy, I figure that will most likely make some money. I think it's going to be okay. But we're getting some information that is kind of troubling because it's showing that people may not be so into it anymore and that the MCU may have a problem. Now, whether or not all this information turns out to be true or not is still up in the air because it's just early predictions. But it's not looking very well. Let's get into this. First off, we get this from CBR, the shillest of the shill, king of the shill, says when they're putting it out, that's probably a problem there. They're saying Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opening box office projected to fall short of Volume 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 officially enters box office tracking and it looks like it's headed for an opening just short of its predecessor. Now, a third movie in our franchise doing less than the first is really bad. If it turns out to be that way, it's really bad. Especially considering that this is the end of the trilogy. This is the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie James Gunn is going to do before he goes over to DC and does whatever the hell he wants to do over there. We go see how that turn out. But it's thing. I'd rather say most of these other characters are pretty much leaving with it now. What's going to happen with some of them, but it's not looking so good for them with that. If these are the early predictions, let's get a bit more information over here at Cosmic Book News. Right, it's saying that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 box office tracking for potential massive flop. I don't know about the flop part. I think this movie may very well make some money, but then again, I could be wrong. It's difficult to say. James Gunn's final Marvel movie is projected to open lower than Volume 2 and follows Quantumania bombing big time. Oh boy, did it ever. Quantumania lost money, that's to tell you. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 box office happens to be tracking low. Potentially a massive flop for the next Marvel movie as part of Kevin Feige's Phase 5, which is already off to a rocky start following Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's big bust. Now, in the event that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 flops and crashes and burns at the box office, I'm not saying that it will, I'm just saying in the event that it does, that's pretty much saying that, Phase 5 is over. It's pretty much saying Phase 5 is over. Because I think this was the only movie that people were actually looking at and saying, well, this could pretty much make some money. I think that's the only one people were actually looking at. I did a video on the Marvels for the Marvels trailer and stuff. It doesn't look good. You understand me? A lot of people are turned off by it. It is now the most downvoted trailer, MCU trailer on YouTube. People are just sick of it. You understand me? So it's not looking good. So if this turns, if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 flops, that pretty much means that Phase 5 of the MCU is over and done with, and just dead at the box office. It's boy. According to early estimates, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is tracking for a 130 million opening, which is less than Guardians of the Galaxy's 2 146.5 million back in 2017. The first movie released in 2014 opening to 94.3 million. Okay. Additional estimates also offer the flick could open anywhere between 120 million and 155 million. So we'll have to see how things play out. However, according to early projections, things could be worse. Now, and the early projections and stuff, the first week this may make some money, and then it's possible in the second week and stuff when the word of mouth starts to spread, especially if this isn't good, it could fall off a cliff. Because the rumor going around is that they may very well end up killing off Rocket in this third movie. I'm not saying that they will, I'm just saying that's just the rumor that's going around. Because in the first movie was pretty much Star-Lord's story and, getting the Guardians together and some of the stuff about Drax and all that stuff. In the second movie was about Peter and his heritage, and he had ended up defeating Ego the Living Planet and all kind of stuff. In this third movie now, we have the High Evolutionary, who is also connected to Rocket and all of that. So people are saying that, they may end up killing off Rocket, and Rocket is a popular character, and getting to see his original that thing is what people may actually very much enjoy seeing that. If they screw it up, no, and word of mouth starts to spread, well then that's pretty much, like I say, going to be the end of Phase 5. Right? So, the early estimates are said in part come from initial pre-sales where Box Office Pro reports the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pre-sale numbers are actually lower than every Marvel movie release post Avengers Endgame except for Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Yeah, well, Black Widow was terrible, Shang-Chi was nonsense, so that's not surprising. Now that's surprising as that means Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pre-sale numbers are lower than Eternals, which opened to only 71 million, and lower than Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which opened to 106 million. Okay, now when it came to Eternals, people went to see Eternals. I didn't go to see it. I didn't go to see it. Well, at the time we had the whole Koof lockdown in my country, so cinemas I think weren't open, but I really had no intention of going to see it anyway. When I did eventually stream it after, it was total garbage. But people went to see it because they thought, this was something going to be interesting, because some people knew who the Eternals was, some people didn't. They went to see it. Turned out to be absolute and garbage. Absolute and garbage. As for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, that opened Phase 5, and in the first week people went to see it, and then it fell off a cliff sharply by the second week. So, this is what they're doing. Those numbers would be a huge disaster for Kevin Feige, James Gunn, and for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Right, so they go on about some other stuff here, but then what I wanted to get to is that they say here, why could Guardians of the Galaxy 3 bomb at the box office? And they have some reasons here, and I want to go through them quickly. One is the second movie isn't as well liked as the first movie. No, okay, that's kind of debatable. I thought the second movie wasn't as great as the first movie, but I didn't outright hate it. I thought the movie was okay. Some people really liked it, some people didn't. But it did make more money than the first one. So it's not really to say that is a really actual thing as to why it could happen. I'm just saying. James Gunn could be a problem. I think that's ridiculous. The whole thing with what happened with James Gunn when they tried to when they fired him because of some tweets he put out some years ago and all of this nonsense. And then let's not forget the very Guardians of the Galaxy cast were behind him and threatened to quit. They didn't bring him back. because it was really ridiculous. It was really, really ridiculous. They were just looking for a reason to just mess with people, so they were thinking that. So I honestly don't think most people care about it. So I don't see that as any kind of real problem there. Another goofy Marvel movie, that may very well be a big problem. Now the thing about it is that James Gunn did this whole silliness in Guardians of the Galaxy, but he did it well. It actually worked for the characters. These other directors and things are not James Gunn. They all now trying this whole silly comical humor in everything, and it's not working. I mean, if you look back, for instance, at Marvel Phase 1, 2, and 3, the kind of ridiculous humor you're seeing now, you would have never seen in any of those things back then. Even if you think about the Marvels and the whole switching places thing, they would have never done something like that in the early days of the MCU. They would have found a way for it to actually make sense and actually produce good stories, have these characters meet up in such a way that that they have to work together. That's what they would have done. Not some weird, freaky Friday nonsense. They wouldn't have done that. And again, they say, no, for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy, they were in Thor, Love and Thunder, which is, in my opinion, Thor, Love and Thunder is quite possibly one of the worst superhero movies ever made, and most likely the worst MCU movie ever made. Was total and utter garbage. But they were only in there for like a few minutes in the beginning, and that was pretty much it. I don't think that would affect anything, but the constant goofy Marvel movie crap is clearly pissing people off. And some of them may very well say that, you know what? Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably going to do the same thing. I'm not going to bother. So this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't have movies act in different genres. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 was serious but humorous because that is the way James Gunn set it up. The rest of the MCU was serious adventure with some little bits of humor sprinkled in. It has since abandoned that and become a running joke in everything now, and it doesn't work. It's turning off fans. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania kicked off Phase 5. Well, yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania turned off a lot of people. A lot of people in Phase 5. A lot of people in Phase 5. And you have to remember that the big bad that they're setting up is Kang. And Kang isn't really a big bad. I mean, he was already defeated in Loki. And then now, in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, some ants beat him. He's not a big bad. The MCU spent time setting up Thanos as this big bad so you could actually be terrified of him, and that's what they did. This hasn't happened. So it's clearly not going to. It's clear that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania really affected a lot. What about the Disney Plus shows that turned off? Yeah, too much. You have all these Disney Plus shows flopping that are supposed to be connected to the MCU cinematic, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's just not working. So these are some of the reasons that they have given here. Now, again, I would say, I am not going to say that, this movie is going to flop. I don't think so. And it's possible it may not, I'm just saying. But the early box office numbers are not looking good for it. And if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 does flop, that pretty much means that Phase 5 of the MCU is just done. Absolutely and utterly done. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. You're notified every time I put out a video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.